open the meeting for the regular meeting, Moose Lake City Council for Wednesday, July 10th, 2024 at 4 p.m. And the first item is a pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item is the agenda. We do have one addition. This would be under 5I, new business. Excuse me, it's 6I, new business, and it's brush pile operation. Do we have any other items for the agenda or discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
So,
Have a second?
second.
Did you get that? You got
That was
one
everybody
and
in
two?
sync.
Except me. It was all of them. Yes, sir.
We'll say it was Chris.
All in favor, well, I should say, yes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. And number 2, consent agenda. This is minutes for regular city council meeting for June 12th, 2024. Any discussion or questions on the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 2B, financial reports. Number 1, the city accounts payable for June 2024. Number 2, the city financial statements for June 2024. Number 3, the liquor store profit loss statements for June 2024. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? No. Motion carried. Number 3, public comment this time is reserved for comments from the public and matters not listed on the agenda. Please keep comments to 3 minutes. From the community, thank you. Moving on to number 4, departmental reports. Interim Police Chief Chad Madison, he's not here, so Alyssa.
Chief Pattison is unable to be available today, so I'll just briefly go over the report he provided to council. As far as the calls for service, presented was the June 2024 total calls for service with a numeric total of 34, self-initiated, 10 business checks, 10 extra patrol and 2 traffic stops, 1 assist to other agencies, 11 calls for service, 0 medical for a total of 34. Chief Pattison did provide a list of the calls for service for review, and he is currently on and engaged with the city through July 31st.
Questions from the council?
I had one thing. I had a couple people say to me that the city has been putting in on their website the schedule of our police department. And after talking with the mayor and the people in the office, that is not true, and I just want the public to be aware that the city does not publish that stuff.
It never has been and never will be. So I don't know where these things come from, but they happen.
Yep.
Thank you, Walt. Any other items from the council or questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to City Superintendent Phil Etner, Department Report for June 2024.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Owens, had a busy month in June. Ran pretty hard there to beat the 4th of July holiday, and we'll start the water department. Water department distributed 5.1 million gallons drinking water in the month of June. Sewer department collection system was way up, 23 million with the flooding that we had. It's you're going to have that. There's no way to limit that. That number is considerably lower than numbers in the past that we've seen due to other flooding events. So that's another telltale sign that that lining is working. The 2024 lining project, we're going to talk about that later. The treatment facility, we did have a discharge in the month of June, totaling 41 million gallons. So that's, I mean, we had a lot of flow out there this month. I'm sorry, in the month of June. I'm still looking at possible upgrades of the wastewater facility to increase more capacity. Still looking at some of those. Street department, right away, stuff like that will be blacktop patching starting next week after agate days. We'll be then shifting gears into right-of-way clearing, ditch clearing, ditching, do a lot of storm sewer, a lot of drainage ditch out there that needs to get grubbed out, cleaned out. Cemeteries, they're busy. They are very busy. It's been good, but really throws a wrench in scheduling for us when we have to stop to do what we're doing to take care of a funeral. It's the way it goes. Arena pretty much shut down for the year other than a couple special events. We had a car show. The agate day is coming up here, and I think there's one more coming up. Taylor, do you know which one that is up here?
National Night Out.
National Night Out, thank you. Cycling center, we talk about that later on. And that's pretty much it for that. I do have one thing. As you drive through town, you see there's a lot of signage in town. And when I talk about signage, it's either advertising signs for businesses or even political signs. And I love the idea of having all those signs up there. We just need to make sure they're in the correct places. And the correct places is outside of the public right of way. If you have a sidewalk in front of your house, typically on the house side of your sidewalk is the place to put that sign. If it's toward closer to the street, it's going to be in the public right of way. We do have the authority to remove them. So I would just ask everyone that they keep that in mind and then place them where they're supposed to be. Any questions, you can always feel free to reach out and I can show you where right of way is. There's multiple websites that will show you where right of way is. Not super hard. So other than that, good luck to everyone with their election and everything else. Any
You know,
questions?
there's some signs that have been put on some telephone poles, and I've called the power plant. They should take them down because they shouldn't be on power poles either.
Right.
And I know there's a couple they left on, and I don't know. Maybe that's something to bring to the meeting. They should be out for all the power poles also. There's been a couple that have been on for quite a while now. And I can understand people want to advertise, but
Absolutely.
at a point they need to take them down. Yes, sir, Greg.
Garage sale signs.
So garage sale signs, I don't get too fussy about. People have those out for 2 days. It's gone. It's a local event. It's nothing like that. It's not a sign that stays there for 2 or 3 months. You know.
I just want.
Yeah, no, and that's a very good question.
Because people ask.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
Well, we used to ban them, but it got to be, I think the police just, it was,
They got
couldn't fuck
left.
with.
Yeah, people would leave them. and pick them up.
If they're still there 3 days after the weekend of the garage sale, we pick them up. That we do. But if there's a sale on a Friday and they're advertising for that sale, I typically leave them up. If you want me to start enforcing that, I will. But that's your taxpayers trying to, yeah,
The heart, I mean, it's,
absolutely. Yep.
Any other questions, council? Thank you, Phil. Municipal Liquor Store Department Report for June 2024 and 4th of July Revenue Report.
Members of the council, Mayor Shaw, Administrator Owens. So start with the Muni. The staff down there has been working incredibly hard. Things have been incredibly busy down there. So we're through the 4th of July, now we're right into Agate Days and Brewfest this coming weekend. And then, hopefully we'll have some time to look at some other things. But everyone's been doing a great job. It's been really busy. I did provide a little bit of a snapshot for this revenue because obviously expenses are still coming in. We're only at July 10th. So it's hard when you're trying to compare year over year with something like this because I put the days of the week on there. It's not going to be apples to apples. So I did put a note down there. If we were to include the Wednesday, the 3rd of this year, that was a really strong day for us. And last year didn't have a 5th day like that. So because of how the days fell in the week, we actually had a stronger 4th overall weekend per se, if that makes sense to everyone. Yeah, so things are looking good. Things are busy, and they're doing a great job. Mari's doing a great job, all the staff. Thanks to Public Works for setting stuff up down there for us. Yeah, any questions about the muni?
Well, thank you.
Sure.
It's a good job.
And we can go right into the campground. Same thing, just kind of gave a year-over-year snapshot of the 4 days and kind of what it did. And the campground's a little bit different because you can only occupy so many sites. But we did raise rates, so you see in there we did make a little bit more revenue in comparison to those same 4 days. And then at the bottom you have, for both, I have year-over-year January through the end of June. So 2024 is exceeding 2023 in both the liquor store and the campground.
I'm surprised at the campground with all the rain we've had, but
Yeah.
still is higher. Any other questions by the council? Comments? Thank you very much, Ryan, good job.
Sure. And if we want to go into IT before Laura comes up,
Okay.
since I'm up here. IT related, over the last month, it's just kind of been Wi-Fi issues all over the place. The city, the library, we just ran a new fiber from the library/township office all the way over to our server. So that in theory is good to go now. We had some Wi-Fi issues up in the admin office. We got those corrected. And we will need to install some new wireless access points at the Muni and Public Works garage here sometime soon, but that'll be a smaller dollar amount, but just letting you know that that's occurring.
IT-wise at the arena, is that all pretty much set up?
I haven't heard any issues down there.
Okay.
That I'm sure I'll hear about it if something happens at Aga Days here.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering why, if things for Aga Days, I guess, because they did one it last year, I remember.
Sure, the one thing that always comes up is Wi-Fi is not good or strong down there because it's a huge tin building. So inside, it's a struggle to have strong Wi-Fi. We would have to pay probably some dollars to get that working to where it's a strong signal. The Hockey Association did pay to put a new wireless router extender, but only in the concession stand so they can use their transaction thing. So people can pay with cards for items out of the concessions.
That's an awareness thing, I guess,
Yep.
for next year. Look at a budget item, maybe something to look at.
Sure.
And the Hockey Association did give permission and give Wi-Fi passwords out last year to help with some vendors to be able to have the ability to do electronic transactions with their phones and whatnot. So that was a partnership between the Chamber, Aga Days, and the Hockey Association, and their willingness to kind of work together. So vendors who were placed in certain areas would have access to that Wi-Fi. Then it reduces the loading on the city's Wi-Fi, and depending upon where everybody was, it was a solution, not best case scenario, but a willingness from everybody to try and make it the best experience we can down there.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Laura, library operation report, quarterly report.
All right, good evening, members of the council, Administrator Owens. All right, so the library has had a really good second quarter. Obviously, we did have the library book sale in this. This year, again, we were in the arena, and since we moved there, that's always been really good for the library. We just over $4,500 altogether from having the vendors come and people donating at the book sale. And then all the books that got left over, we donated to the Disabled American Veterans, and they took it in a truck, and so then that'll be distributed down in the Twin Cities. So that was really nice, and we talked to them, and they did say, you know, if we need to do it again next year, they can pick them up again. So it's an excellent place for the books to go.
Great.
And the last few weeks at the library has been pretty busy. We've had 4 out of 5 days of the week, over 100 people coming into the library each day. Our summer reading program is also going really well. The kids are really excited. We started a program this year with brag tags, so the kids get to run around and talk about how they've read so much, they've earned so many tags. They've been very excited about it. But we have 101 people signed up for the summer reading program right now, and they can continue to sign up until the end, August 9th. Let's see, and our best program so far was Snake Discovery. We had them come again this year, and we had 86 people come and show up for that program. It's always very popular with the live reptiles. And then we also had a stunt juggling with 32 people. He was amazing. And this Saturday during Aggie Days, but at 10:30 here in the library room, we're going to have peregrine falcons. A lady will come and talk about the falcons, and we get to learn a bunch about those. So we'll see how many people show up for that one. Otherwise, reoccurring programs this summer. Every Tuesday, we're going to have a craft program at 3 p.m. and every Friday at 5 p.m. we'll have a free movie showing, and that's each week through July and August. So that will be the end of the programming bonanza for this summer. Any questions?
Council? No, great job, and thank you for that info.
Did they ever find the last snake in here?
One got away.
Thank you, Laura.
Very good. Motor Vehicle Department quarterly report. Alyssa.
I do not see Karen Deline here, so we will, if we don't see her come, she might be caught up in the office. We'll
You never know at the
table
end of
it,
the day.
or we can move it to next month as well, so whatever you see fit.
Moving on, City Engineer, monthly report for June 26, 2024.
Yeah, the city engineer meetings have been really busy. Some of these items we'll cover later in the agenda. We'll review the Trunk Highway 73 Phase 2 trail project and the route later on. I did want to mention that as far as the sewer board coordination is concerned, and the meeting minutes that were included in council's packets, we do have a mediation scheduled with the sewer district for July 24th at 9:30 a.m. That is a subcommittee group that's already been established. That's just for your knowledge about what and when those activities will occur. A little bit of an update. The 2025 sewer lining project we'll talk about later in the meeting. We have been meeting every 2 weeks with the engineers, city officials and city staff regarding the residential development. At the most recent meeting, there was a revised layout that is kind of, at this point in time, the final layout that will be utilized for wetland impact applications and permits and things of that nature. We are working on 2 development agreements, but have prioritized the phase 1. And as soon as we have legal descriptions established, then we can engage in the phase 1, the completion of the phase 1 development agreement. And then there'll be some zoning activities for the city's planning commission and council, in addition to review of the agreement. So every 2 weeks we've been making progress on that. We've shortened the timeline in between meetings and really kind of pushed for progress in between each of them. If you have any particular questions, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue to bring forward items to council relevant to that particular item. In addition, a little update on the compressor project with the Hockey Association. So I received notice this week that They were waiting for some of their financial activities to occur. They don't normally occur till later in the year, so they were bumping up those processes in order to get the bank their remaining tax documents and things of that nature. Thumbs up there, everything has gone really well. The next step in that process is having an appraisal done at the arena. That's part of the financing process for the Hockey Association's financial contribution. So we'll be engaging in that as soon as possible, and then you can see in the meeting minutes, we have our engineers involved. We will be participating in a public bid process. We, as a city, that there is a need for that, and so we'll go through those steps and bring forward additional information to council, but working on that project in the background. The hope is for a September project timeline, so that means a lot needs to occur between now and September, but we're absolutely working on it. And that's it. Everything else, as far as the engineering meeting minutes, there's a lot in there. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
I got one question here.
Sure.
On the city-owned 40-acre parcel, it says in blue, Phil sent a map of the proposed area. What does that exactly mean?
So Phil gave him a map of the outline for the area relevant to the gravel pit, or potential gravel pit. And so we've been passing information back and forth between parties. He provided that to the engineers, so now there's some work that they need to do on their end before we make additional progress there.
That document is for the permitting process. To open
Okay.
the pit.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey Phil, I had one question because I can't remember what we discussed in the engineering meeting. That's wells 3 and 4 closeout. Are we waiting for anything from the state?
We're waiting to hear from the Department of Health to see if they're gonna make us update our wellhead protection plan. And they have not reached out to us yet, but we're just leaving it on the
Brisma,
agenda.
is that part of that?
Well, the Duisma is part of the wellhead
Duisma.
protection plan, yes. It's a portion of it, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions by the council? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4H Chamber of Commerce updates.
Yes, at the chamber meeting today, the executive director, Michelle, she gave an update on the 4th of July events. So the 4th of July parade on Thursday, there was over 72 entries, and that's the most they've ever had. So they were really happy with participation in the 4th of July parade. They are currently getting totals calculated as far as donations that they have received for the fireworks display to be donated to the city. So all of those activities are happening from a chamber perspective, but we're awaiting the final figure, and it looks good. They've been working really hard. In addition, the route was changed a little bit for the kiddie parade, but again, the attendance was significant. They felt like that was the highest attendance they've had for the kiddie parade, and that all went well. Things are underway for the Agate Days activities this weekend. There is still a need for volunteers, so if anybody's interested in volunteering, there's different Sign Up Genius posts on Facebook and websites available on the Chamber's website to go and look and sign up for activities and or help. They've got it really well organized, so you can select specific activities, dates, or times that work well for you and see what options are for volunteering. So there are still volunteers needed for Agate Days. In addition, Brewfest is happening during Agate Days in the Unity parking lot, 5 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, July 13th. Everything's a go on there, and so again, lots of gears turning and a lot happening, but it's exciting. So they're looking forward to a busy weekend.
2 items with that. If you remember, ask the chief for the police tape, because we use that to run up each side of Elm for the crowd before they do the horn for everyone to rush in.
Excellent, and Chief Pattison will be working on Saturday.
Yeah. And the other one, just to mention, the fire department does have their steak fry on Saturday, starting at, is it 5 o'clock, Jim? 4 o'clock. So a very good event and very good food.
Excellent.
And the proceeds go to a very good cause. All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Thanks. Under 5A, this is a small business assistance program discussion, small mill and overlay discussion, and dual drum roller quotes.
So at last month's city council meeting, we shared that cities under 5,000 in population received a little bit of state assistance for road projects or road maintenance.
There you go.
And so the city received about $37,000, and so at that point in time, we were looking for ways to maximize and be most effective and efficient with those monies. And so what's included in the packet was just, again, the summary of the monies that were awarded to the city of Moose Lake. And then Superintendent Etner, as requested, provided a quote for a specific area of Elm. That's in the packet. The quote came back for 6,500 square foot section of road at $29,250 for a mill and overlay of just that section. And then in addition, there's some quotes in there for paving equipment in order for the city to facilitate some of those processes independently and not rent the county roller. And so Superintendent Etner, will you elaborate on some of the quotes you got and some of the information provided?
Yep, so we're gonna back up a little bit to that mill and overlay quote. It's not essentially it's a quote, it's just square footage pricing. So if that blacktop comes up if we do that project and there needs to be a soil correction, that's not included in it. There's no way to tell until you open that road up whether or not you're gonna do that. It's just kind of to get you a comparison of what that intersection would cost roughly with rough figures. So clear that up for starters, and then rollers. It was really hard finding rollers right now. Everyone's allocation for rollers is already out. Everyone has their equipment running constantly. So there was a little bit I was able to find. State bid through Caterpillar for a Cat CV 1.8 is about $40,000. If you're looking at page 56, that's the first highlighted number. The second item down below that is a Wacker Nissan RD12. For the most part, it's the same thing. It's still a good machine. I ran it before. The third line item down, that would be for a used unit in a CB 1.8 that Caterpillar has at 532 hours. And then a couple more pages down, there's another quote from Hayden Murphy for Vomig. I think that was $27,500.
Nice.
Just some options to throw out there, so you guys can think it over, see what you want to do. Currently, right now, when we're doing patching and blacktopping, we are having to utilize the county's roller, and we only get it on Fridays, and we work 4/10s, Monday through Thursday. So that leaves us between 9 and 12 days out of the summer that we can blacktop.
The one quote here for the new one for, let's see here, the CB 1.8, that's $40,673, and then the other one is for $27,500. Are those like similar machines? I mean, why is there such a big
Different brand.
different brand?
Different brand. So we have 4 quotes, and those are the only ones I could get. Okay, and I can walk you through them again if you'd like.
No, I
No,
got
you're
it.
good. Okay, perfect.
Just one good question with all of this. Is there rental possibility, and if there is, are they available when you need them? I mean, it's good that you can rent them, but if it's not available until later date or when you know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely. It wouldn't be financially feasible for the city of Moose Lake.
It's just not,
No.
where are they if they're even
Duluth.
hard in there?
Duluth and Shakopee.
So it's not. And then you gotta make sure they're available when you need it.
And then you don't want to rent it for a day, you want to rent it for a month.
Right.
And then you're talking of upwards of $10,000, and that's a third of a machine. So it's just informational. We're not looking for a motion by any means.
You know, since you had time to look kind of at the intersection down here, is there any real bad spots that you think need to be a larger patch? Let's say we don't go with the whole thing, which I don't know what the council will do, but is there an area that should be tore up and patched until a later date when the city decides to do it?
You mean,
Let's say just the intersection itself.
so my biggest fear with this is it's such a small volume of work, we won't even get any bidders this time of year. That's just my opinion, and that's what I've seen.
Or it would be at the end of the season when everything else is done,
Correct.
and then you run into weather, and if the plants goes early, you're in trouble.
Correct, so you might as well bid in November, December, January,
For
make
the
that better
next year.
pricing. Yep.
But what's good about it, you guys have this data now for next year. And you should be planning the projects early so that bids go out early.
So with that being said, in that mill and overlay, I'd never recommend it because your storm sewer is undersized. You can ask every business owner on the corner down there. When it rains hard, it floods down there. The water main is undersized and the sanitary sewer is old. Granted,
So
sanitary.
all that's good to know
Right.
for, it could be added into another project.
Yep. Sure.
But until we know these things won't get planned or get done.
Administrator Owens, is there a deadline for this money to be spent?
No, I've not been told a deadline. We have time.
That small amount we got, we kind of knew, but until you actually see it,
Sure.
we want to
Did you?
try to plan it or schedule it. Yes,
Is 532 hours a lot of hours for Richmond?
Not on a piece of roller,
we've got two more. Doug, and then I'll
Yes,
grab
what
you.
are we spending here, rental? We said we're getting it every Friday,
so. It's,
roughly. I mean, we spend 8,000, 10,000, 5,000 more.
that's very reasonable. It's very, very reasonable.
For, to rent from the county?
Yes. Yeah, but it's when can we get it? Can we get it? Is it available? Are they using it? That kind of thing.
Usually available when the weather's bad.
Pretty much when it's raining,
I
yeah.
know. Walt.
So just so I'm clear on this, we have this $37,000 and we can do one or the other of this. We can either do the mill and overlay or we can purchase the drum roller.
I remember this is up on fold.
Mhm.
We haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it. If there's no deadline to spend the money, maybe we should just think about it a little bit more. We have material here in front of us. We don't need to jump and spend the money.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we can come up with.
If no
another
decision is
idea.
made this year, it can be budgeted in, could even be put into the fund that we have set up already for infrastructure. And, I mean, that's where it'll probably be documented for
It's-
next year.
It's gonna come in state grants and aid, as far as how it funnels into the general fund. The council could make a motion to transfer the money into into that particular fund for infrastructure, absolutely. I guess wanting to have dialogue today about, these were a couple of ideas that were brought forward, so here's additional information. Are there any other ideas, any other avenues that you would like staff to pursue information on? Wanted there to be an opportunity to digest, we can put it back on August's agenda, gather any additional info and or just give time for it to soak in for everybody.
I'll get you, Greg, just make a statement. As small a gift as it is a gift. And we are putting money into a larger project already. Do you know how much we have in our fund?
Thank you for bringing that up. So the sales tax fund discussion and the liquor fund discussion will happen. We have it, right now I have it pegged on August's agenda. We have our audit next week, the 14th, 15th, and 16th of next week. So then after our audit process, we'll be able to give you updated balances.
Once we know that, we have a better idea how to utilize it. Talking about your experience, if they won't even do a small project like that, then it goes back to all the way up to the Douglas? Is that right?
I'm not, can you?
From intersection,
Yep.
from 73 to the intersection, then up forth to where
up to
we
Douglas.
ended, or started the last, where we started the last project.
So about 60 feet east of Douglas,
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, that would be enough, I would think someone would bid on it, but then we're probably getting up there to to 100,000 again.
With still undersized utilities, old utilities.
Yeah. Well, my point is, right now on the list, prioritized list, it's so far away. We got many other ones scheduled before that, so we wouldn't even do those infrastructure for years and years and years. But that road being the main road, but my point is to everyone, that is your main road in the city, downtown area. So that'll be a discussion, a decision for this council at some point. I just want to make that point to you, that you can wait 20 years and let that road continue to deteriorate for 20 years in your downtown area till that comes up in priority, or you at some point are going to have to grind an overlay just because of where it is. But you guys are going to have to make that tough decision. I just want to bring that point out. Hey, Greg, do you had your hand up?
Well, you're saying you were talking a small project or adding it to our infrastructure and stuff like that. So like, it's been brought up to my attention several times, is switching the direction of the traffic up Elm. You know.
You
so
can't.
That, so the traffic, so
DOT won't let you do it that way.
That what?
DOT won't let you do it that way.
Who?
DOT, because
Well,
when you go up,
okay,
you're facing, yes, but you're facing traffic coming on Elm up to Third
Right,
Street.
understood.
Yeah.
But what if you switched the sides that it was parked on? And then if you're going up, you always turn to your left to park.
I'm not sure, maybe.
Yeah, so that way you'd be going up with traffic
It's
always
possible.
across. I don't know, I mean, it's been,
Yeah.
because it's been people
It's
that
a-
come in here and try to make that
Yeah.
turn with a camper.
You know why they couldn't before? There was maybe Chris remembers, there was an island, and you may have too, a small island in front of the theater that came out into the road, but that was taken out at a certain point. So you probably could switch it,
I mean, at this.
as long as everybody's coming up the right side,
Right,
because you can't send them up into an intersection facing traffic coming down.
You can only do that until,
Right, it's a possibility, but that'd be a decision if the council wants to do that.
How much would you expect these quotes to change in a year?
Machinery quotes?
Yeah.
The machinery quotes? Not much. Honestly, I'd be willing to bet we could get a better used price come November, December. Because a lot of these construction companies are taking their rental back in. Because they don't want to sit on them throughout the winter.
From an auditing perspective, it's always cleaner to have the monies in and out in the same year and to not transfer over. It's not to say that we can't do that, just throwing that out there. But there's a lot of time to figure out what the best course of action would be and how to maximize the money. If it's a gift and a small gift, or, you know, it'd be nice to make the most amount of thing with the funds.
Are you asking for action on that equipment? Or what do you?
Strictly informational.
Put it in a discussion item? If it's gonna happen, then it should be probably in the next month, so that goes either into next year's budget or as a purchase this year. Now, I'm guessing you wouldn't bring it forward unless you wanted it for this year also.
The reason I brought this forward is it was an avenue to spend this money.
I understand.
Yep, okay, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it if we want to buy a roller, and it makes total sense, absolutely, and I think it would be a smart purchase. But it's not in the budget. This is something that literally got thrown at us a month and a half ago, right? Something like that. And it's your guys' money, so. we're just trying to figure out all the ideas on the table, the best idea that we possibly can.
And there's time still to purchase one, but it wouldn't help you a lot if it's later in the year.
No, we're at least 50% through our blacktop money for the year. So it's,
Yes, sir.
Do we know the figure, like how much we spend on renting
I
that
can find that
equipment
out.
from Carlton?
I can find that out.
You know, what we spend on a year and see what kind of savings that we would make if we purchase this?
Absolutely. I can do that for you.
Chris, are you, go ahead. Sounds like you were talking.
Oh, I was talking, yeah,
Yeah.
turn the air down.
Oh,
You're cold, turn it down.
I'm very cold, yes. Sorry.
I would just make one statement. How long does mill and overlay typically last? 10 years?
If you don't touch the base, it's 7 to 10.
Okay, and how long will this piece of equipment last?
If for the use in this town, 30 years.
Thank you.
I couldn't hear that last
30 years probably.
for,
Something for
The
a
piece of
roll.
equipment, how long it'll last?
The volume of hours we would put on a piece of equipment like that isn't a whole lot, but you can't do the job without it.
right, right. Yeah, you have to have it for the final.
Right.
Do you have a way to transport it?
Oh yeah, we got a trailer already.
That's a good question.
So does someone here want that as an agenda item for next month?
I do.
Okay, if we please put that for next month. Greg, your idea, because I just talked to Phil and Lisa about painting both Fourth and Elm.
Striping.
We have budgeted last year, if you remember, for striping, which we should be doing soon. And so if we're going to change anything, what you're talking about, Greg, you should either
Either way.
I guess put it for next, I think people need to think about it more, but we should have it for an agenda item then. And because it would change what's going on Elm, I think all the businesses should be contacted and questioned, if they even want that. Which I guess I'm asking council, would you like that? Is there interest in it?
I think the only downfall is that we remove a couple spaces just because we have the entrance into the library. But I don't see that it would really change a whole lot for people. I mean, you're walking one way to go this way, or, you know.
Doug?
I don't think there's a major issue with how the traffic goes. If the public wants it switched and the state said it's okay and that's what they want, that's fine. But I don't think there's a major issue now. I don't have a business there though, however.
Well, you have a business in it.
Yeah, I don't see a major issue. I mean, the issue is the campers turning in there, but they have other roads that you can take. But when they use Google Map, it probably tells them to go down that way. But, I mean, if there was an outpouring from the city residents to change it, I would consider, discussing it.
I understand. The only way to find out is if we put information out to the community, if there's an interest, I guess. I want to make sure the businesses don't agree to that also.
I think a lot of people would actually say they'd like to see it go back to two-way street.
I don't know why it changed, and I don't remember why it changed.
It was part of the beautification process. They wanted to widen the sidewalks. The way to do that was to make it a one-way.
So if you go two-way, you wouldn't be able to park down there because the sidewalks have been widened. So you wouldn't be able to park there.
And it did take up a lot of, or take away a lot of parking spots.
How much narrower is it now than it was before? 10 feet?
Probably a car width, because you could park on both sides,
Right, I know.
but it's parallel parking.
Right.
So it took the car width away. They made the sidewalks
You know, Melissa?
wider.
10 feet.
So I have more snow to shovel now.
Yes. I'll leave it up to council what you want to do there.
I have not heard from a lot of people the need to do this. I don't know what other people have heard. If it's 2, 3 people, I think it's a lot of energy by the city to do something that I don't know if it's a high priority or not. Walt has a business there and other people, if we talk to the people and they're not that interested, I think we should just move on. If there is, they can come back and then we can discuss the line, because we have the painting project coming out.
The people that contacted you, if you want to pass it on,
Oh,
if
yeah, no.
they're interested, bring
I'd
them.
rather they watch it.
No. Okay. All right.
I mean,
Well-
there's been tractor trailers come in and stuff, and then they get, for deliveries, it's another thing, you know, at times. So, I mean, if it's a new one, somebody that ain't been here before, somebody that always comes here knows that he can't get that way.
Yeah. We do have somebody who has another business, Star Gazette. You got any opinion?
The only comments we get is that it's always full and it's hard to find a spot. That's about the only thing we've heard.
Yeah.
I think part of it's the renters also.
Thank you. Well, I guess we'll put it in minutes. If it becomes an issue, you can always come before the council again. And we can deal with it if it becomes an issue.
She brought up the parking again, and we have discussed that, but I don't know where that has ended up at. About parking downtown for making it possibly customers only at certain times. We had that discussion here.
Through the years, that has been a suggestion, and asking the businesses to have their employees park behind the businesses or across, the highway in the bank parking lot, which they agreed to open to the public.
It's been on city administration's radar from a perspective of it's been discussed with council on multiple occasions. Where it was left, and I'll be honest, was, does the council want city staff to canvass and ask and put resources into those discussions and or those activities? If that's a desire, we'll allocate resources to go talking to all the business owners and collecting data. It's just a matter of how council wants to proceed or prioritize that, for sure.
Well, I guess I would like to see that take place.
How many rental spots are there above that one building? 'Cause that's really the only rental.
There's three
Apartments?
apartments, and if everybody that's living there has 2 vehicles, that can work out to be like 6, 7 vehicles. They do have some parking behind for like two vehicles, but then sometimes there'd be like from 4 to 6 out there on the street. And it kind of, how bad it is depends upon how, certain times, it changes. They get new renters in, so it changes from year to year. Like some people don't have a job, and so they're parked out there 24/7. And then sometimes people have a job, so that at least they're gone during the day. It's mostly during the day and just into the beginning of the evening where it can create, just not enough room for people to park, and that it can be difficult. And then the Carol Inn, I think they're only renting one apartment up there now, and that guy's parked out in front of the Carol Inn buildings quite often. I have had two of those businesses come and say stuff to me, and we got this vehicle parked in front of my business all the time, and people, I would like to have that open during the day so people can come in. And that to me, it's not like an issue. I mean, if they're doing business downtown, you know, they can be parked there for as long as they wanted to, you know, over 2 hours or something like that. But when they're parking there, you know, sometimes 24/7 for a whole week and not moving their vehicle, it can become an issue. And during the wintertime, it becomes an issue for snow removal.
Mhm. Well, if Carol Inn, doesn't that have parking behind the?
They should have some
Very little.
back there, but that's kind of changed after they closed that alley down there. And I think that there might be room for one or two vehicles down there, but I think some of the Valley Printing, I think, is using some of the parking back there now.
The big parking lot back there used to, of course, be open for
Mhm.
parking, but town changed that, and now the new owner, of course, owns that, and I don't know if they would be open to an agreement on parking. I guess we've never addressed that. They do still have big trucks coming in and out, so I don't know. It may be worth a communication with the new owner.
So their lot must abut straight up to the buildings in the back?
Pretty close, very close, yeah.
Hey, Greg, you guys need to put your hands on it.
Okay, would it be, could they put, like, out here, put 4-hour parking during the hours of such and such and such and such?
I had thought of like from 8 in the morning to like 8 in the evening, to have it for customer parking for a certain amount of hours, like you're saying, whatever that would be, 2, 3, 4, or something like that.
I don't know.
I think
It's gotta be monitored.
biggest, if I remember going back, discussions on this, and many years of discussing this, it kind of always came back to how do you police it? Do the police have to go back and mark the tire, and going back in a couple hours and checking again? I know that the police department did not want to get into that.
That would be a challenge to do that, but right now, the way it is, the business owners, if there is a vehicle parked out in front there for like days at a time, you don't have any standing to go out and say, hey, could you move this vehicle? I need this vehicle for my business customers. And you have no authority to tell them anything like that. And I mean, this is supposed to be a business district. And as businesses have left, they've turned, you know, and there's more apartments downtown. It's mostly the renters. And if you had an ordinance like this, the landlords would be aware of that, and when they rent it to somebody, they would say to them, you know, okay, you can't park out front at these times. And then it wouldn't be such an issue for the police department. And if you had like a person that kept parking there that wasn't a renter or something like that, you could always then have it would give the business owner the authority to say to the police, you know, hey, we have a problem with this certain individual, this vehicle, and then they could go and talk to them at that time. I wouldn't expect the police to be driving by like daily and, you know, like saying, okay, they parked at 10 o'clock and then keeping track of all that stuff. It would just give you the authority to use it when there's people that are continuously violating the rules.
So to give Alyssa direction,
I
you
was-
could think of no overnight parking, a sign that would state that. Your business is probably open the latest,
Yeah,
so you would want that to state after your business closes.
There would be the hair salon is open till like 8 o'clock, and then Poor Gary's is open till like 10 o'clock. And,
If you have a second show, you're open till
well, the second show.
11:30?
Yeah, but I'm not so concerned about this second show. I mean,
But the police we'd have to give good directions so they would know. Probably have to have a time on it, on a sign, if you have no overnight parking.
well,
To
you would,
midnight and
you would
6 a.m.
allow the renters to park there during the nighttime. You know, like, it would be customer parking only from just,
That's
say,
not-
from like
yeah.
8 in the morning.
Opposite what I said, yeah.
From 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening, and then after 8, then they would be allowed to park
I
there.
don't know how you could even make a sign that way, though.
It was that way until they did the one-way. It was 2-hour parking.
What item is this on the list?
What was that?
What item is this on our agenda? Parking, what item is parking on our
No,
agenda?
it's not.
Okay.
All right, we can move on.
No, I don't want to move on with this because it was part of our discussion that we just went into on, I think you brought it on a middle and overlane. It was brought up about traveling, switching directions on the street. Greg brought that up, but parking was brought up as an issue. So I think we'd turn it over to the administrator to look at for next month.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, if it's possible, maybe administrative staff could come up with some type of survey, like even electronic survey. It could go towards businesses, it could go towards residents, and they're, you know, could weigh in on parking, direction of traffic, things of that nature, and just gather some information in a way that doesn't take a significant amount of resources. If there's a desire for that, that's an option too. Or if there's a different direction that you'd like us, resources to be directed, we can follow suit with any of it. I mean, do we want feedback from business owners, or do we want feedback from all residents? Because that would change the approach to gathering information as well.
You know, it fits in with your striping project coming up. Because we're not gonna change direction, paint them now and spend all that money and then bring a discussion up to change it, the direction. That paint will be on there if we do it for a couple of years. And that's what, how many thousand?
I haven't bid it yet. I'll bid it in the
Yeah,
next month, so
okay.
I'm not sure.
So I'm hearing roller.
Would council like city staff to gather information?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll put it on the agenda in August, and we'll have information we can bring forward.
Is there anything on this roller, any comments, questions? So hearing no action, but you would like, do you want some direction on that?
I don't need any direction on the roller. I was asked to look at other options of ways to spend this money, and this is one of them that would benefit the city.
We can put it on the agenda in August, and we can include information on cost savings for renting the roller and have the discussion again. And I'll give everybody time to think about it. We'll do some internal work as far as if there's any other ideas that surface as well, and we'll bring it forward in August.
Is there any benefit, let's say on the entry into the gravel pit? Any need for money on, that will be a road into there?
There's a road to the site. It'd just be a driveway approach, which will be included in the original estimate to get the gravel pit established.
Okay.
Yep.
And you gotta put in drainage underneath that?
Yeah, we gotta do a whole long permitting process with a whole bunch of erosion control and that kind of stuff out there.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, this is partly Phil.
I'm coming back.
Long-range summary for HVAC improvements. So I'm going to take you back in time. We budgeted a while back for the municipal liquor store to get a new controller, so that is in the budget. Along with that, we had Gardner come in. They explained that one of the options for controller could actually encompass all the facilities, almost all of them, that the city owns. So, and in that could create a lot of efficiencies for HVAC, heating and cooling. So we went down the path and got a long-range summary of what that would look like, how much it would cost, and that's what you guys have in your packet. Essentially, as far as the liquor store is concerned, we just need option 1 or 2, and that is budgeted for. But you can see what it could do. It would all incorporate everything in there, or we could take a phase approach. And I'll let Phil talk more about that and his feelings about it. What do you think, Phil?
So yeah, as you go through here, I guess we're just gonna jump to the back page and just get it over with and tear the Band-Aid off, because it's $136,000 to upgrade all 10 additional sites outside of the Muni. This, in a nutshell, outside of the controlling what Ryan's talking about with the Muni, because that has to happen. The rest of this money is, the only benefit is to be able to, in my eyes, and this is my opinion, so nobody hold me to anything here. You have the ability to look on your tablet or your phone or your device, adjust the temperature of whatever one of these 12 buildings that you want remotely. And when you have some type of failure, whether it's heating or cooling, it alarms you to go do something about it. It's a lot of, $136,000 is a lot of money just for that. But we were asked to look into it, so we looked into it, and we have an idea.
How complicated does this all look to you? Because I've seen other things like this, and it's been very complicated for the people to understand. And if it is complicated, then we need to have somebody from the city that knows how all this stuff works.
It took Public Works staff 2.5 years to figure out the SCADA system in its entirety for the water wastewater system in town. This would probably be something similar to that. This essentially is a SCADA system for your HVAC controls throughout all the city, all your city buildings. With it being water, for SCADA being water and wastewater related, that's a little bit different. When the well pump shut off and the tower is going to drain in the next 3 hours, that's a huge deal. That's not, it's going to be 60 when you get to work in the morning and we'll figure it out. Like, people don't have water in 3 hours. So that's where the SCADA and this differ, in my mind. I'll be very honest, I do not see this being a very smart investment of any kind, other than to upgrade the controls at the Muni, which need to happen.
The controls at the Muni, so you guys remember, it's because it's no longer supported, so if it breaks, they might not have parts for it. I'm sure there's some other benefits to some of this other stuff, but in thinking about this, another thing that wouldn't be included in here in the cost is strength of Wi-Fi and internet service for some of this stuff. So that would be additional cost, I think, that I would have to figure out.
So what is the basic cost for just Muni?
That is on page 2, and I think we would go with probably option 2. It's the $2,950. We have $20,000 in capital for the liquor store. So
Yes, please.
Why would you choose option 2?
because option 1 has an old A.G. O'Brien's work scope. I don't know how old that is, but now we're talking ductwork. So although this is what it costs for that controller, we would also need to change some ductwork, and we're never gonna see that money back efficiency-wise, so we'll probably have to involve engineers and everything else.
Yes, sir.
Number 2 basically takes care of the liquor store, and we shouldn't have any more problem with the liquor store.
Well, won't have any more problems as far as,
What heating, cooling.
there's always gonna be issues
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the way it was built.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say that. There won't be any problems with different thermostats, like one being set at 70 over here and one at, 62 over there type thing, I guess. That's the way I can explain it.
Council action,
I'll make a motion that we go with option 2 of the proposal for the liquor store HVAC improvements.
do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. It was absolutely worth the look and to do it, so. All right, you got next up on some of these.
Yeah. Very good. Any more on that item?
Nope.
So that, going on to new business, that's why you're waiting, you got the
Yep.
first item?
You got it.
6A, general fund checking and transfer discussion.
Yep, so just like I think 2 council meetings ago, I transferred some money into the new account. Does everybody remember what that was for? Because of the fraud a long time ago. So I just need to transfer some more money, so I'm asking for approval to go ahead and transfer another 200,000 into the new account. And then the next time I come back, hopefully that's the last time.
And it's only in Ryan's name, just so you know it's safe.
Yeah.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further question, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 6B, MSRS employee Roth IRA discussion.
Sure, so this is the city's deferred compensation plan. I was made aware that they also have a new offering for Roth, which is pre-tax and Roth contributions. There is no additional cost to the city, but I would need you guys to give me the okay to go ahead and move forward to allow this as another option for city staff. Yeah, the only other thing with it would be a little more work for me, but I think it's well worth it. The representative will be here on September 12th, whether we go ahead with this or not, just to talk about stuff.
Melissa, anything with this?
Oh, yeah, it's just another financial option and benefit for city employees to be able to engage in. It just provides them with either a secondary solution and or a new solution for retirement contributions. It's a nice add-on. I think it's something that was kind of missing out of the employee portfolio for options. So in combination with the other deferred comp offerings, it's a good benefit for city staff to have at no cost to the city.
Council? Questions, discussion? We would need a motion to start.
I think I do.
Yeah.
That's my understanding in talking
Correct.
with the rep.
I'll make a motion, we add the MSRS employee Roth IRA to the
Employee package.
employee package.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Going on to 6C, BCB SMN National Fitness Campaign Grant Opportunity. Brian?
Yes, so I was made aware of this. I met with Gloria last week via Zoom. This is the Blue Cross Blue Shield National Fitness Campaign. It's pretty cool. They need a pretty big area, flat surface, obviously, put a slab down. It's to get people moving, get them healthier. This is a grant, but it's a matching grant. Now, in speaking with her, there's two different options. There's like a half of a place to do this, and then a full on that has the steps and other things you can do, and then the other half is like a flat surface to do yoga and other things. So ideally, they mapped out the best place would be the city park. At least that's initially where they were thinking. And if you flip through the pages, well, it's not marked, but anyway, they look like this. This is kind of where it gets into, on the right over here, is the half and then the full, and kind of what the matching grant on the right would be, how much the city would need to come up with. So for the half of this, and we can get some savings on the slab if we do it ourselves, etc. 135,000 to 177,000, and if we go for the full-on big canvas area, it's 167.5 to 227.5, somewhere in that area is what they figure. Another item that came up is there's a 5-mile radius that it can't be next to another one. So the Moose Lake Township's actually putting a half one in out at Auburn Park, so out where the racquetball courts are and stuff. So that's one thing they need to look at, is if we are within, I don't know if it's as a crow's fly or driving distance, what that would look like. But if we're in that radius, then this is a moot point and we won't be able to do it anyway. I know that price tag is pretty high, but like the township, other entities have pitched in money, and I don't think that they are having to foot most of it, so. This is just for your information. I don't need anything else on it, just maybe your thoughts. If you want to give them to me later, now, whenever. I do have a follow-up meeting with Gloria later.
Are they going with Essentia? I'm thinking Essentia in St. Luke's.
Essentia has chipped in, is what I was told. I haven't confirmed that, but yes. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's their funding matching grant program. They pay roughly half of it, and then you can get other entities to chip in, and then whatever you want to pay as well.
Greg, did you have your hand up?
Well, if we can't do it, if it's within 5 miles, we're within 5 months.
Yeah, you'll
Yep.
find out, right?
They are looking into that right now. Their grant people are checking into that to see if it would even work.
But it's basically 2 miles from here to the park.
Yeah, when I looked it up, it said 3.7 miles, but that's, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So you'll bring it forward next month if it's
Yeah,
even
and if you have more
possible.
thoughts on it, if you like it and want me to keep moving forward, if they say it's okay, just let me know.
Well, we'll certainly know you'll hear from them, I would imagine, within a month if they're.
I will know from them on the end of this week, actually.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, with outside funding, though, one of the slides did say, and you did reiterate that, 155 to 225,000, that's after the money is the grant, if they have 50,000 for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Is this something they charge people to use?
Not to my knowledge. It's just open, it's there, it's an actual foundation and slab there.
So I mean, people from Moose Lake could use or
Yes.
from Sturgeon Lake could come in and use the one there, or
You got it.
Tamarack or wherever.
Yep.
there's
We-
a 3-minute video as well. That
Yep.
was in that thing, so if you haven't watched it, the 3-minute video is helpful on how it works.
Well, keep us informed of what they tell you.
I sure will.
Thank you.
That's all I,
Thank you, Ryan.
yep.
6D, ordinance number 174, an interim ordinance prohibiting the operation of cannabis business and establishing a study period pursuant to Minnesota statute section 342.13, small e.
So the city has been aware of a need to establish a cannabis ordinance. Original timelines with the establishment of the Office of Cannabis Management at a state level were telling us that we had into 2025 to complete these processes. In addition, once the Office of Cannabis Management is up and running, they are going to be providing resources back to cities and counties within the state of Minnesota to assist with the establishment of these ordinances and provide template language and additional resources for cities and counties. What recently happened is that there were some legislative updates, and those updates included provisions for the immediate approval of the cultivation of cannabis and cannabis business operations effective immediately. And so this then in turn kind of sent cities and counties spinning backwards who have not adopted an ordinance yet, awaiting the Office of Cannabis Management and additional resources at the state level. And so our city attorneys contacted us when this legislation was passed and recommended that the city immediately engage in an ordinance that would essentially prohibit the registration and operation of any cannabis business within the city until the January 1st timeline. And so that January 1st of 2025, by that time, the city should have another ordinance that they're entertaining and or implementing on a macro scale that addresses all the different needs and regulation requirements from a city perspective. So the ordinance that was presented in the packet to council was drafted by our city attorney. It is the same type of moratorium or interim ordinance that is being utilized by other cities in the state as well. I did want to provide a couple of clarification pieces. So I think it's important that everybody is aware of the definition of a cannabis business. So that means a cannabis cultivator, manufacturer, retailer, wholesaler, transporter, testing facility, micro business, event organizer, delivery service, or hemp potency edible manufacturer or retailer. So when we say that would be a moratorium, it's addressing cannabis businesses specifically. I do think it's important to mention that the moratorium would not apply to THC drinks and edibles. They're already lawfully being sold as hemp-derived products, so it's different than cannabis and a cannabis business. So I know that there are entities within the city that are already selling the edibles and or the THC drinks, and so this moratorium does not apply to them. It applies to a cannabis business and or cultivator. And so this was the recommendation of the city attorneys. Our standard process is a three reading of an ordinance prior to adoption. Now, in checking with the city attorneys, that's not a statute, that's not regulated, that's just been the city's practice. We do have a precedent for repealing an ordinance that was, there was inequitable language in our liquor ordinance that was repealed with a one-time reading after it was published, so we do have precedents for that. The recommendation from the city attorney is to pass the ordinance after one reading if council so chooses, and not proceed with the 3 readings. If we did the 3 readings, we would be into the January 1st timeline and or closer to it. The ordinance has been published in the Star Gazette prior to this meeting, and so essentially looking for discussion and or motion from council upon review of the ordinance provided from the city attorneys.
Open up for discussion, a question by the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
this is no longer in effect on January 1st anyhow.
Correct,
So-
and by statute, it can't go any longer than that. This essentially bridges the gap between now and the legislative updates that allow for cannabis businesses to operate immediately and that January 1st timeline, to which then we will have to have our entire cannabis ordinance in effect.
this would give you time to have that work done and probably get some examples from other cities between now and then, and we'll have them developed, which will make it much easier for administration.
Thank you for mentioning that, Mayor Shaw. We have been doing that research in the background. Deputy Clerk Hansberry has been gathering information. We'll also have resources from the Office of Cannabis Management as well. So we are working on that in the background. We're going to have to bring it forward in a relatively short period of time as well. This just bridges the gap over the next couple months to make sure we can review zoning and other things of that nature.
Council? No questions? Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve the ordinance 174.
And a second?
A second.
Any further questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Thank you. Under 6E, this is the Highway 73 Phase 2 Trail Project route discussion.
Oh yes, so we've been talking about the Phase 2 route for the trail for a significant period of time. We have just recently made some significant progress. And so the trail route has been shared with council in the packet, or proposed trail route, I should say. You'll see there are different colors on the map that just subsequently follows the meeting agenda that was provided. The map is color coordinated for the different easements that will be required in order to facilitate the proposed route. And so what happened this week is that in coordination with the city engineers, city staff, and city officials met with members of the Department of Corrections facility, the state offices, and the MSOP facility. And so we had some really productive dialogue regarding easements for this particular route. They have communicated they are willing to collaborate and work together for the betterment of the community. We were able to share that this is a fully funded grant trail, and so it is definitely a win for the community in order to get this last portion facilitated. It will connect the trail at the roundabout to the Portage Trail, enclosing the rest of the loop, so there'll be an entire trail system of a loop around the lake, which is exciting. And so it looks like this is going to be the final route, and we'll provide more updates, but I just wanted to give everybody a sneak peek and share that some significant progress was had, and that both the state facilities within the city limits have come together and are collectively working towards getting these easements established for the trail.
Council? Questions, comments?
You'll see in the blue section too, there's a little bit of a bump out. There are grade requirements for the trail and for the funding, and so there needs to be a bump out as there's a steep grade in that area in order to accommodate the funding requirements and what the grade of the trail needs to be. That impacts the DOC facility, and they are on board with assisting with getting the easement done. We've talked about having fencing in that area, so the blue section in its entirety would have a fence in between the trail and the additional state property. So things like that are being worked through. Again, great collaborative effort, and it looks like we finally have a means forward for a route.
Council, questions? Hearing none, thank you, Administrator. We still haven't established a start date.
No, we
Okay,
have not.
That'll be the next step.
Correct, yeah.
Under 6F, the Shirt Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated 2025 Sewer Lining Project Supplemental Letter Agreement.
Yes, so that June city council meeting, the council approved the, awarded the bid for the 2024 sewer lining project. What we're seeing is that the later in the year that we let projects out for bid, it can impact the number of bids that we receive. And then in turn, you know, there's an argument to say if maybe if we had more bids, that there could be an opportunity to have some type of bidding war and or get a better price. In addition, with letting the project out for bid earlier in the season, then some of the vendors and or contractors are doing other projects in the area, or they bid to be in the same area. So a lot of times if a contractor is coming up to do work in the Duluth area, you know, Moose Lake is on that stop, and or the project can happen in coordination, and maybe a better price is let based on that. So with that in mind, we're already looking at planning the 2025 sewer lining project. This supplemental letter agreement, if approved by council, then allows the engineers to engage from an engineering perspective on the planning for that project.
Open for discussion with the council and or a motion.
Motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Just a thought concerning this, because we shortened the project, correct? From the original layout. We did cut some,
This project to the 25 one I'm working on?
yeah,
No,
Totally different.
this year's one.
no.
Is there,
I'm scaling them down so they fit within our budget, because we have a lot of projects out there.
that's
that
what I
are not
was,
within our
that's
budget.
what I was asking.
There's a lot of them on the shelf that
Yeah.
are ready, but there's no funding for them.
Now, this 37,000, which is road work, which can be infrastructure, I'm thinking, or can be transferred, would that help with next year's?
I think it's a stretch, if I'm being honest.
It's a what?
I think it's a stretch that the road money would be, could be utilized for the sewer infrastructure. We can most certainly look into it, but I'm aware that it's for road maintenance. The verbiage is
road
pretty
maintenance.
set. Correct, correct.
It's always such a small amount, it's hard to, we can't even get a bid for a short grind and overlay with that. I mean,
You're right.
it's it'd be nice with infrastructure, if it could road.
Right.
So we are looking for a motion on this.
Correct.
We did. Did we get a second?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Hay Harvest Bid Award.
Yeah, so the city underwent a bidding process for hay harvesting up at the city-owned property where the residential development is planned. And so we received one bid. That bid is in the packet, and just looking for formal approval from council on the bid.
Council? It's $101.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Who's it from?
This bid is from Phil Latu.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to H, City Superintendent Phil Etner, Employee Recommendation Letter. City Administrator.
In the council's packet, there's an employee recognition letter for City Superintendent Phil Etner. I think it's important that that there's opportunity to acknowledge and give appreciation and gratitude for all city staff and their work, and exceptional work should also be acknowledged. And so I'll read the letter that was issued to City Superintendent Phil Etner.
Hang on a second. Phil, could you come up? Melissa, could you
Get up
there
there.
and read it to him?
Way
And
to
then
go,
hand
buddy.
the letter.
Sorry. Here, you're talking about.
We can share. City Superintendent Edner, I'm writing to express my deepest appreciation and gratitude for your exceptional response to the severe weather event that impacted the city on the morning of June 19th, 2024. Your swift and decisive actions played a crucial role in managing the crisis and preventing significant damage to our community. Your immediate response to the overloading of the city's sewer utility was nothing short of exemplary. Thanks to your quick thinking and expertise, you were able to prevent sewer backups from affecting residents' homes. Your successful efforts in mitigating excess backups and manually operating lift stations were instrumental in countering the surges to our sewer utility infrastructure. Your ability to foresee the potential risk and take appropriate measures not only safeguarded property, but also ensured the health and well-being of our community members. The proactive steps you took to manage the situation under pressure were pivotal in maintaining the integrity of our sewer system and preventing what could have been a far more disastrous outcome. It is in moments like these that true leadership and professionalism shine through. Your actions have demonstrated both, and it is clear that the city greatly benefits from your expertise and dedication. On behalf of the entire community and city administration, I extend our heartfelt thanks and commend you for your outstanding service. Please know that your hard work does not go unnoticed, and we are incredibly fortunate to have you as our city superintendent. Your commitment to excellence and the safety of our residents is deeply appreciated, and it is an honor to work alongside you. Thank you once again for your exceptional efforts. Sincerely, City Administrator Owens.
Thank you. I do owe this also to the rest of the Public Works group. We were running 4 lift stations manually that night with 3 of us. So those guys ran just as hard as I did. So you guys have a really good crew. You should be really proud of them.
Thank
so
you.
much.
We are very much. Thank you both. Moving on to I, brush pile operation.
As of July 1st, the new process for the brush pile was implemented. And so there have been a lot of questions and commentary from the community, so I wanted to make sure that some issues were highlighted and or some information was transferred. So the brush pile hours of operation sync with our recycling shed. The recycling shed hours are the same county-wide, so we get a grant to help us facilitate our recycling services from the county. All of the recycling centers have the same hours of operation within the county. Now, moving the recycling shed and combining it with the brush pile, I just want to remind everyone that dialogue had with the DNR and the county led to this change. So it was really important from a liability standpoint that we mitigated liability and had essentially oversight into what was being dumped in our brush pile. And so with that, changes were implemented. The recycling shed was moved. As of July 1st, city residents still have access to the brush pile free of charge. There's no charge for city residents. No processes have changed for the recycling shed other than the location, so that all remains the same. Mulch and dirt are available at no charge to city residents as well. And essentially what the city staff, what our intentions and plans are is to look at what occurs over the course of the next couple of months. So what are the needs we can assess with more data for hours of operation? Is there a need to extend the hours? Is there a need to change the hours? We're going to initiate budget for 2025 and budget processes here in the next month. And so we can look at if there's a need to staff additional hours for the brush pile, what are those hours and how much money is needed. We'll also have an opportunity to review the little bit of revenue that's coming in from charging for non-city residents at the brush pile as well. So we're kind of we're implementing, but we're also in an assessment phase where we can look at how things are going over the course of the next month. We can pivot if need be. Community engagement is always appreciated, and so we'll gather that information, look at the figures, and we can determine whether or not modification of hours is appropriate, and or bring information forward to council for review when budgeting to see if there's a need to budget for additional staff hours down there.
Any questions? Any concerns? Hearing none. Something just hit me, Phil.
That's too bad.
That 37,000, it keeps coming back around in my mind. We have intersections where we want to do handicap accessibility, yet there still are some that have not been done. That maybe if we could look into if that would be another authorized expenditure for the money. Not that I want to spend that money so much, but that's always funding that is hard to just come by, and it's more cement work, I know.
We have started budgeting for one ped ramp.
Yeah, one a year.
One
We
a
haven't
year.
done this year's yet.
And we haven't done this year's yet, but we could do multiples, you know, if need be. We are budgeting for one a year, and we are also budgeting for just a certain footage of sidewalk repair on an annual basis as well. So we're trying to push into the public works budget to accommodate ongoing maintenance so that we're not stuck with large repair bills all at once.
Did anyone have any other comments on the brush pile, concerns? Hearing none, I'll move on to 7, reports and correspondence. 7A, RDPC-AWR 232, Mass Facilities Planning and Response for Rural Communities. This informational. There is some possibility of training. Did you look any more into it, Melissa?
Yeah, it might be something that Finance Director McKeon and I engage in, wanted the council to be aware it is a free training, or tuition-free training happening locally, which isn't always possible. So wanted council to be aware in case there's any additional desire, but I do believe a few city staff will be attending this training.
Jim, does the fire department have personnel doing this kind of training also?
That's
with
the
FEMA?
probably, it's probably the same training that Melissa's doing, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The county deputies all have this training. All county management does.
So it would be some good training. Very good. Under 7B, Carleton County Emergency Management Director. This is Marlon, the June storm update. I was in contact with him throughout the storms that we had, and which was very beneficial to pass information on back and forth. Because there was concerning about flooding, and luckily the biggest storm that really would have flooded, causing flooding, it split and went north and south. And thank goodness we had Phil on the spot also with his crew, because it could have got serious real quick. But that's for your information also. You can see the dollar amount. Even when you don't think there's much cost to infrastructure on these flooding, it can add up quick. And the important part of this is the documentation, because if it is declared region-wide or statewide, then you're reimbursed that funding. Even let's say the cities came to, let's say, 20,000 during that, if it was region-wide and it was declared at the state level, because it can add up statewide up to that, I think it's 8 million. then we get that funding back, even if it's 20,000. So it's important to stay in contact with the county on this and to document that stuff. Moving on to 7C, Carleton County Drug Prevention Coalition meeting minutes for June 3rd, 2023. Administrator?
Just simply for your information, if there's ever a desire to, participate in any of these meetings, the door is always open as well, but it's, just wanted to bring awareness to those meetings and those activities from the county level as well.
Is there any concern or wish to participate, please contact the administrator. Moving on to committee and board minutes, meeting minutes. 8A, the Moose Lake Area Fire District meeting minutes. We don't have any at this time. 8B, Parks and Recreation Board meeting minutes, none, so I probably don't even need to put them on there.
It's a placeholder for me, I apologize. Those meetings were occurring this week, and so we just haven't got the meeting minutes back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
They will be there next month.
You got it.
Under 9, announcements, regular Moose Lake City Council meeting Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, 4 p.m. right here. Moose Lake Economic Development Authority, Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, 12 p.m. City Conference Room. Moose Lake Water and Light Commission regular meeting Tuesday, July 16th, 2024, 1 p.m. at the Water and Light Office. Moose Lake Housing Redevelopment Authority Board, Monday, August 12th, 2024, 11 a.m., Hillside Manor Office. Moose Lake Area Fire District, Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, 6:30 p.m., Emergency Response Center. Moose Lake Park Board meeting, Monday, August 5th, 2024, 5 p.m., City Council, Township, right here. Just something I missed. We do have a representative for the Fire District Board for the minutes. Anything, concerns, issues, or things to bring up?
Not at this point.
No? Okay. Thank you very much. Council, any last comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Is that a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.